Rook in pawn, knight f1, king e1, king e1, rook g1 check, king f2, and takes, there's knight e3. Wait, g4, okay, take f5 maybe, okay, takes, take, play with 0.7 seconds, Yu Yangyi's gotta move here, knight b5, knight b5, no, you gotta move, what? He played with, what is happening? He made that move with 0.0 seconds? How is that possible? The clock showed 1.0. Okay, he still has an edge. He's up a pawn. But he hangs a rook. What is going on here? What a game. Yu Yangyi completely loses the threat. And so it's going to be D-Magi who takes a 2-1 lead. Wow, what a game. What a game. But let's go back. I just want to see what happened. Right. Okay, well, let's see if we can. Let's pull that up real quick. Wait, let's pull that up real quick. It was right around here. How does he have 1.0 seconds on his clock? Like, I don't understand. Aren't you supposed to lose on time? And then here, he had 0.7. Like, how does that happen? Yeah. Anyway, but even though he avoided losing on time, he did end up losing on the board because right around here, white is better. But he played king f2, hanging the pawn on f4. And not only do you hang the pawn, you also hang the rook. So very tough loss for Yu Yangyi. And D-Magi takes the lead. Alright, so in the meantime, let's see what's happening in the other matchups. Okay, well, let's just keep going. Let's go to the next game between Yu Yangyi and D-Magi. D-Magi is now very close to qualifying for the main event. So let's catch our breath and let's get back to the action. Alright, so here we have a Ragozin. White having a slightly better pawn structure as the pawn on d5 is isolated, but black has got the two bishops. So, so perhaps he's lagging a little bit, yeah? Perhaps he's lagging a little bit. Okay, so takes on c3, maybe take the queen. I like this position for D-Magi. He's up in the match, he's got a pretty risk-free position, and it looks like he's a little bit better. So I think you cannot really ask for much more in this situation. Okay, so bishop d7, Yu Yangyi would love to follow with rook c8 or knight c6, but the question is rook c8 actually a threat? Like, let's say you go bishop b5. Are you actually gonna go rook c8? Because you can take everything, and you have a rook and a bishop for the queen, and black is completely tied up here on the final rank. So I think that would be a nice idea for D-Magi. You can also go bishop d3 to make sure that rook c8 is not a move at all, because after takes, it's actually checkmate, as you deprive the black king of the h7 square. But then black can go knight c6. So bishop b5 would prevent this move. So let's see what D-Magi is going to do. He's taking a lot of time. Bishop b5 has been played. Alright, so I guess you can take, but you'll recapture. And in case of takes, maybe you take with the knight. And I don't see how you can keep defending this pawn. Rook d8, you go rook d1. To me, this really looks like a dream position for D-Magi, given the fact that he's up a point in the match. Like, if this game ends in a draw, he keeps his lead. If he wins, that's even better. But for Yu Yangyi, not a fun position to defend, especially if he's down. So let's see what he's going to do. Again, now, in case you go knight c6, white can just take. So let's see what Yu Yangyi is going to play here. Again, takes, I think you take with the knight. Queen g6. Tricky move. Playing this pawn on g2, but now I think you're in good shape with the castle. Queen g6. Tricky move. Playing this pawn. Okay, castles, the g2 pawn is defended. So let's see. I think in case of rook c8, white is happy to give the queen for the two rooks. The two rooks certainly look stronger here. So I think Dave's got a nice position. His pawn on d5 is weak. He's got control over the only open file on the board. He can go for moves like queen b4, queen b3, asking some annoying questions. And it's not going to be easy for Yu Yangyi to hold on here. So let's see how he will try to do so. But Again, the most important thing is that both players will keep a good pace on the clock. We saw that Yu Yi had the edge there in the last game, but he got too low on time himself, and everything went wrong all of a sudden. Rook AB8. Okay, I guess you gotta keep moving. Maybe move like H3, making sure you can never get back rank checkmated. So let's see what he's gonna do. Alright, in the meantime... Oh no, wait, that was the other game. Let's see if we can have a look at the bracket. Yeah, so let's have a look real quick at the standings in the bracket. So as you guys can see here, Rauf Mamedov and Denis Lazovic are all tied. They're 1.5, 1.5, and Vidit has a 2-1 lead over Vasquez, and in the meantime, Deac has that 2-1 lead over Yu Yi. Again, if you reach 3.5 points, you win the match. So Deac is pretty close to winning this one, but as I said, he's getting down to his last 24 seconds. Right, so he trades off the queens, and there we have Rook FC8 by Yu Yi. Yu Yi should be doing fine here. I think a nice move here is the move H5, because now White goes G4. If you go H5 here, you fix that pawn on G3. But now White's pawn structure is a little bit more flexible. This knight can always jump to F5. You no longer really want to go G6, as White can go King of 2 and Rook H1. So he goes H5, trading off the pawns. But now again, it's Deac with a very, very slight edge. So let's see how he's going to try to put some pressure on Yu Yi. G6, good move. He wants to move his king into the middle and not be bothered by the move at knight F5. King D2. I think you just move your king into the center as well. And I wonder what Deac is going to do. He trades off one pair of rooks, offers the trade of another one. But this should objectively just be a draw. So takes 6. But again, a draw is not a bad result for Deac. He's up in a match, so every draw is fine with him. It just brings him closer and closer to qualifying to the main event. Knight D7. So let's see what he's going to do. Okay, G5, fixing the pawns. F6. Okay, Yu Yi wants to trade off some pawns. Maybe G5 here. G5 looks like a nice move, and there we have it, because in case it takes, you have knight E4, and you take the pawn. This is objectively a draw. Really not much happening, but Deac down to his last 6 seconds. I don't really think anything is going to happen, but you never know. I think Yu Yi has got to try here. He's got to try to make something happen. Maybe knight E6 to C5. Maybe push with this pawn a little bit before. I don't know if you go B5 yourself. It looks pretty dead. It looks pretty dead to me. But again, if you can, you should try something. Knight D8. He's headed here. A3. Maybe knight F7 to D6 to C4. That at least asks some questions for Deac. And hey, with only 2.5 seconds on the clock, you gotta move. E4 with 0.8 seconds. I think it's a nice move though, because in case of D4, there's knight E2. And this allows him to simplify the position even more. Takes. King D5 now. Knight C5 is a threat. King C6. I think it's too simplified. It's too simplified for Yu Yi to make anything happen here. Deac, he just has to accumulate a little bit of time on the clock, and then he should be just drawing this game. Okay, check. You know, just throw in a check, just try. Okay. Of course, Deac can always flag, but it's unlikely. But with the knight on the board, there's always still the potential for a blunder. Okay. Yeah, but now he's trading off the last set of pawns. B5, you take. So he's just gonna take, and now knight A2. Or there, and it's going to be a draw. Alright, knight C3, maybe knight C5 to stop, knight A4, okay, knight D5, maybe knight B7, no, but knight B4, it's game over. Okay, take, king C3, and that's going to be all she wrote. Alright, so Deac keeps his 1 point lead going into the bullet portion. Alright, so let's see if Yu Yi can make a comeback. Vidit, by the way, did he win another game? Vidit going up 3-1. He will only need one more draw in the bullet portion to win this match. And Denis Lazovic and Rauf Mamedov are still all tied up 2-2. So some very exciting matchups. Just to recap the standings real quick, Deac has a 1 point lead over Yu Yi in the final of the winner's bracket. If he wins one more game, he will qualify to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. Vidit has a 2 point lead over Vasquez. He only needs one more draw, and Denis Lazovic and Rauf Mamedov are all tied up. So let's take a very, very short break as we are getting ready for the bullet section. But we will be right back with more action in the first qualifier to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. Actually, never mind. You know, we're already off into the bullet portion. We have a Queen's Gambit decline here. We see a trade on d5 and bishop to g5, putting pressure on the knight, c6. Okay, so let's see. Really, in bullet, it's about who gets the easier moves. We see a trade here on d3, knight bd7 or bishop b7, both are fine. So let's see what is going to happen. Knight bd7 on the board, you want to recapture the knight, f3. Yu Yang-yi, perhaps he wants to expand in the center with the move e4. And really in the bullet, they have to alter their time management. I mean, D-Magi, he cannot play as slowly as he did in the blitz portion. He really has to play faster. So let's see what he's gonna do. Maybe move this bishop out of the way, put some pressure on the pawn. He goes c5, striking in the center. Now black can get the isolated pawn on d5, but this pawn on e3 is also quite weak, as it's no longer supported by this pawn over here. So rook 81 by Yu Yang-yi, keeping the tension. One thing that worries me a little bit is that Yu Yang-yi has got 2 bars. Hopefully he will not lag and, you know, lose on time or something, but he's got the edge here. The pawn on d5 is isolated, this knight can jump to f5, and he certainly has the easier moves. He's up almost 20 seconds on the clock here. D-Magi has to speed up. He goes g6, stopping this knight from jumping into f5. So let's see what Yu Yang-yi is going to do. Maybe knight e2, putting some pressure here. He goes queen b1. Alright. I guess maybe rook e1 at some point, defending this pawn over here. Let's see what D-Magi is going to do. Maybe bring this rook into the game. He goes a6, stopping this knight from jumping here. Okay, rook d2. I guess he wants to double up the rooks. And there we go. Queen b6, decent move. I guess the easy thing in bullet is that you know you just have to move. You know you have to move. In a blitz game, you still think like, well, I have to think a little bit. But in bullet, you know like, hey, I just gotta keep going. So knight e5. He wants to go knight c4. Attack the rook. Attack this. Attack this. So that is why Yu Yang-yi steps out of the way. Knight c4. Okay. You want to get rid of that knight, but you quite can't. As I think black has a tactic over here. So let's see. He goes h3, slightly improving the position. Maybe bishop b4 here, putting some pressure on the knight. Queen a5, also fine move, but this allows knight b3 with a tempo. Where do you go? This pawn on d5 is hanging. Queen b6 runs into e4. D-Magi down to his last 8 seconds. He goes queen b6. e4, attacking the queen. The queen has move queen c7. You can take the pawn. Take it. Is he going to take it? You take the knight, take the rook, takes. Yu Yang-yi up a pawn here. Can he convert this one into a win? Knight b6. Knight b6 and the rook would have been trapped, but bishop f6, rook c2, queen b7, queen c1, nice move. Alright, rook d8, good move. Maybe b3 here. Okay, takes. Okay, takes, maybe knight b6. Okay, the pawn on d5 is hanging, but you can keep it on the board. d6, and there we go, d6. Queen d5, taking the knight, and upon knight c6, can you take knight d7, rook d2 here. Knight d7, okay, giving up the pawn, but black has got weak dark squares. Okay. Gotta move, check, king up, check, queen c3, f6, okay. White's certainly still better here. Black's king is a little bit weak. Rook d6, nice move, going after the e6 pawn, but there might be a knight d3. The rook is hanging, rook d7, good move. Alright, queen e4, offering to trade the queens, take, check, and rook d2. Okay, maybe check. Bishop b3, rook e2, check. Forcing the king back to the back rank, or knight f7 as a move as well. Bishop h6, tricky move, takes, g5, check. King h8, rook b7, king back, take, check. The player's moving back and forth, a4, setting that a pawn in motion, but what about rook f3? Push, rook a4, rook a7, and push. Okay, Yu Yang-yi having a chance to come back here, g4, maybe h4, keeping it close, check. Okay, a7, the pawn is super close to promotion, rook b7 and you win the rook. Check and queen. And that's all she wrote. Alright, so Yu Yang-yi strikes back in the first bullet game, and it's 2.5. Whoever wins this game qualifies to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. The pressure is on. Bogdan D-Magi opens up with a Catalan opening, and Yu Yang-yi plays the solid bishop d7 variation. Knight c3 by D-Magi. You can take here c6, also possible. Castles, a5. I had this in a recent game against Darius Schwiertz. Rook e1, D-Magi aiming for a very quick e4 push, knight d2. Okay, let's see what's going to happen here. b5, a typical pawn sacrifice, takes. The idea is queen b6, putting pressure on the knight and the pawn on d4. Alright, queen b6. Queen b6, tagging the pawn. a4, bishop a6. Black has got good compensation here. Maybe e4 here, trying to open up the diagonal as quickly as possible. Let's see what is gonna happen. Alright. Okay. The edge taking his time. Here goes e4. Okay, takes. And I guess you take again. Takes. Okay, maybe e5, grabbing more space, but the knight just jumps around. You can take with black recapture, so the knight is doing perfectly fine. D-Magi getting low on time. He's down his final 30 seconds. Yu Yangyi having a 25-second lead on the clock. D-Magi really has to speed up. You cannot play like this in bullet. 94. What is Yu Yangyi gonna do? Maybe move rook to the c-file, get out of this diagonal. Or rook b8. Both moves look perfectly fine. Rook c8 on the board. Maybe bishop d2, putting some pressure over here, but you do hang the pawn on b2. I like Yu Yangyi's position. I think his moves are a little bit easier to play. And he has got a 30-second lead on the clock. D-Magi has to speed up for bishop d2. Maybe just take over here. Bishop b4 also fine. Because you have to take the queen. Not allowing this fork. Queen a4. Okay, maybe just... he's attacking this pawn over here. But again, white will be stuck with an isolated pawn. And Yu Yangyi has the edge on the clock. Knight f6. I guess you trade now. Maybe trade on b4 and go like rook a4. Take. We see the trade. Maybe rook c1. Okay, rook c4. Defending the pawn and attacking this pawn over here. Rook c4, nice move. Rook d1, maybe g6 makes some move for the king. Rook b8 defending this pawn furthermore. Maybe d5, time to simplify and go for a draw. d5. Are we gonna go down in Armageddon if this game ends in a draw, which is quite likely? Okay, rook c2, Yu Yangyi going for it. Bishop b3 was a chance. Okay, rook a7 takes. You take the pawn, but rook d7. It's gonna be a draw. It's gonna be a draw. Black is up a pawn, but the rooks are gonna be too passive. Rook b7, so you cannot hang on to this one. You're going to have to play a move like g6, rook d4. This b pawn is going to disappear. And so it's simply going to be a 3 versus 3. Rook d4. King g2 also fine. King g7, I guess. Okay. It's taking a lot of time here. b3, rook d3. And that's going to be all she wrote. It's going to be a draw. Rook e8, straight. And it's going to be a draw. Unless one player flags. Alright, you guys. So the... final in the winner's bracket ends in 3-3, so we are going to go down in Armageddon. Alright, so both players are going to have to bid. Let's see what's happening in the loser's bracket. We have this matchup between Dennis Lazovic and Rauf Mamedov. Rauf only needs to draw in this game. Is he going to manage? Dennis up a pawn here. Can he convert this one? Rook d8. Rauf threatening to take here, so maybe move the bishop out of the way, and there we go. f6 maybe by Rauf. Bishop b6, also fine move. King e2, the king steps up. Knight d6, the knight is jumping around. Knight d2, maybe knight b5, bishop b2, bishop b2, defending the pawn. Okay, trade, rook d4, taking the pawn. Okay, you have rook c6, take the pawn, take here, take the pawn. Dennis still pawn, bishop d7, great find by Rauf. a5 though, rook a4, Dennis still up a pawn. Can he convert this one into a full win, into a full point? But there goes the extra pawn. Oh, rook e4, that was a full knight. That was a full knight. King e3 takes. Okay, g4 now. But his a pawn keeps pushing up the board. I guess you give the bishop and take the pawn on g2. This should be a draw, but Dennis can definitely still try here. The knight is, of course, super tricky. If Rauf can get rid of this last final pawn, it is a theoretical draw, even if he loses all of his own pawns. But, again, it's always tricky with a couple seconds on the clock when you're dealing with a knight. Knight f4, the knight is jumping around. Dennis moving his king of the board. Okay, king of 2, knight e3 now. Knight g4 maybe. The knight's jumping. h5. Knight f6. Okay, it's jumping back and forth. King f4. King f3. Rook b3. Rook a7. Good move. Okay, king e4. But then check. Difficult for White to make progress. Dennis is going to try. He needs a win here. He needs a win to keep the match going. King e4. King e4. King e4. Check. Knight c4. Or no. You cannot take. You cannot take king e4. Knight c4. Okay. Okay, knight e5. Knight e5. Yep, go after the f7 pawn. This is getting tricky. Check. King e3. Rauf's gonna go. He goes king e6. How do you take? Maybe with the knight? If you take it to rook. Okay, goes king e4. Nice move by Dennis. And king f3. g5. Great move by Rauf. Trading off some pawns. Can Dennis keep this game going? Knight d3. Rook a3. Rauf defending great here. f5. King e3 takes. You cannot take king d4. Check. You have to go to c3. f3. Check. Good move. Rook c1 now. I think Dennis will manage. King g5. The king steps up. Okay, h4 maybe just. King g4 check. King e3. But f2. Rook g1. But can Dennis keep this game going? Ralph can maybe just trade off here. F2, you can take. Okay, check. Okay. Played, check, okay. Knight of 6, okay, he's getting rid of some pawns, but is it gonna be enough? You can take another one. You can take an Knight of 4. Oh no, he cannot keep the game going. He cannot check. And there we go. Check. Oh my god. King H2, only move. He finds it. King H1. Rook H1, and there we go. And that is the match for Rauf Mamedov. What a roller coaster. But Rauf Mamedov moves on into the loser's bracket. What a match. What a match. Alright, let's see what's going on. Let's see what has happened. Alright. Let's see what has happened in the... Let's pull up the bracket. Alright, so here we see that Yu Yangyi and Deach are all tied up 3-3. So it's going to be decided in an Armageddon. And Rauf Mamedov moves on after a roller coaster. He defeats Denis Lazovic 3.5 to 2.5. And Vidit against Vasquez, I don't know what happened. I don't see the match. And neither do we see it in event. So maybe someone can tell us. Okay, so we're getting word that, wow, Yu Yangyi, he bid 420 and Bogdan Deach, he bid 5 minutes. Deach wants to have the white pieces. He made that very clear. So let's see what's going to happen. I guess Deach is just banking on the fact that maybe Yu Yangyi will have some lag. Maybe he feels that he's the better blitz player with no increment, and perhaps he just wants the white pieces. But he only has a 40-second advantage. That's not that much. So let's see what is going to happen. Yeah, 420. I don't see Vidit. Maybe anyone can tell us. Yeah. Okay, I don't know what happened to Vidit. Let's see if we can pull it up somehow. Okay, so Vidit. Wait, it's a little bit odd. Vidit and Castro played 4 games, but I don't see the bullet portion in their match. Ah, so apparently when Vidit went up 3-1, Vasquez just resigned the match and left. Alright, so Vidit moves on into the loser's bracket as well. Okay, so let's have a look. So we have Yu Yangyi against Deach. Then we have Rauf Mamedov moving on. And actually this Armageddon game has just lifted off. So Yu Yangyi starting off with 420. He plays the Petrov defense. Deach going knight d3. Queen e7 now only move to block. So knight of 4, knight of 6. So let's see what's going to happen. A pretty solid opening for black. Deach needs a win here. Perhaps he realizes that, hey, without the increment, he just has to keep going. Bishop e3. Bishop f5. Let's see what they're going to do. g6. Okay, knight c3 here. Knight c3 looks tricky because knight d5 is a threat. Let's see if Deach will go for that. He goes c3 a little bit more timid. Okay, bishop g7. Now this looks pretty fine for black. And Yu Yangyi is already cutting into the time advantage. He's only down 25 seconds on the clock. He started off with a 40-second time disadvantage. Deach really has to try to keep the pace here, especially because there's no increment. What about a move like bishop g4? f3 is a possibility, but it does weaken your position a little bit. Bishop g4, there we go. And you can always drop back to d7. Looks perfectly fine for black. Bishop d7. Because now the bishop on e3 is a little bit loose. Bishop g2, you can go this way. You can also go this way, kingside castles. But I guess, given the fact that this is a must-draw game, so to speak, for Yu Yangyi, I think he will choose the safe route. Bishop f2. I like how this game is progressing for Yu Yangyi. I think he's doing pretty fine here. He's cutting into the time advantage. Now he's down only 20 seconds on the clock. And again, he only needs to draw. So let's see what Deach will do. He really has to play faster. Knight d2. Okay. I guess we'll see trade here. Okay, rook h e8. I guess you will castle here. You can also trade yourself. So let's see what is going to happen. Alright, he's only down 10 seconds on the clock here. Queenside castles is on the board by Deach. Maybe you just trade the queens here, or g5, also fine. Move takes, take with the knight, or with the rook. Both look fine. He decides to take with the knight. The knight's going to jump back here, or here. Lots of options for Deach. And then there's also the possibility to go g4. Because if you take, you can recapture with the knight. I kind of like g4 because it also opens up this diagonal for the bishop. But he goes h5. Okay, perhaps preparing them with g4. Maybe bishop c4 by d-Magi. Or bishop to d3. The time is even now. Actually, Yu Yang-yi is up a couple of seconds. D-Magi really has to speed up here. Again, he cannot get low on time. There's no increment. If you have no time, you just lose the game. And that's it. He still has a chance, of course, in the loser's bracket. Bishop h6 by Yu Yang-yi. Nice move. It really seems like Yu Yang-yi has found the pace here. Let's see what D-Magi is going to do. Perhaps, you just move your king out of that diagonal. Or you move rook to the e-file. Also makes perfect sense. But look at the clock. D-Magi started out with a 40-second advantage. And now he's down 30 seconds on the clock. This is not how you should play in an Armageddon. You should try to keep that time advantage. Knight d5. Let's see what D-Magi is going to do. But everything is going great so far for Yu Yang-yi. The position is completely fine. He's up 30 seconds on the clock. King b1 by D-Magi. Now might be a good time to go g4 as you attack that knight on d2. Let's see if Yu Yang-yi is going to go for that. Well, D-Magi is the one who's playing a little bit slowly. b5 by Yu Yang-yi. Nice move. Making sure that white can no longer kick the knight away with c4. I mean, you can, but then black can take. And again, look at the clock. Yu Yang-yi up 30 seconds here. D-Magi really has to play faster. He's got to try to find some way to complicate. This has not been his game so far. He really wanted the white pieces. That's why he bid 5 minutes. But he's not finding the pace. He goes king to c2, a6 by Yu Yang-yi. Look at Yu Yang-yi. He's moving super quickly. He's only spent a second on this move. He just wants to keep the pace and just ask D-Magi, like, hey, what are you going to do? He goes, takes, and rook e1. Okay, I mean, I don't think Yu Yang-yi minds straights here. He only needs a draw. Okay, you have to take with the knight. Bishop takes e1, bishop h3, and the knight is trapped. That's it. That's it. Bishop f1, takes, knight e3. Yu Yang-yi is going to qualify to the main event. It's over. It's over. He only needs to draw in this game. And this knight on g2 is trapped. It cannot go anywhere. Like, look, it cannot, like, all of these squares are covered. And D-Magi just resigned. Wow. What a game. I think a very strong performance by Yu Yang-yi in the Armageddon, but not quite D-Magi's best game here. He quickly lost the time advantage, and here he also lost the knight. But great stuff by Yu Yang-yi, who we will see in the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. Alright, so let's see what's happening in the... Alright, so I think that wraps up this round. So let's recap all of the action real quick. So Yu Yang-yi is the winner of the winner's bracket. He qualifies to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. And Rauf Mamedov and Vidit are going to duke it out in the semifinals of the loser's bracket. The winner of that match will face D-Magi for a shot in the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. Anyway, with all of that being said and done, we are going to be taking a very short break. But do not go anywhere. You do not want to miss all of the action that's coming up. And I will see all of you after the break. Welcome back everyone to the first qualifier to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. I'm your host Grandmaster Benjamin Bach, and we are watching the semifinals of the losers bracket between Vidit and Rauf Mamedov. I had not realized that they had started yet, but it seems like Vidit has taken a 1-0 lead, and we have a King's Indian on our hands here. Rauf breaks in the center with the move d5, and Vidit going queen e1. Vidit still playing quite quickly. I wonder if he's still somehow in his preparation. White really does not mind the trade on e4 because they can recapture and have a lot of pressure on that knight on f6. So let's see what Rauf is going to do here. Rauf does decide to take, okay, I guess you take the pawn or you go rook d1 first. Let's see which one Vidit is going to go for. But Vidit, he's known for his preparation. He's super well prepared. He starts with rook to d1 and now queen e7. Okay, I guess now you take an e4. And black, I guess, has to do something about the spin. So maybe g5 has to be played here. Let's see if Rauf is going to do that. If you don't do that, then eventually White can move a knight at d5 and increase the pressure, and it's just going to be a little bit too much. So I think now would be a good time for Rauf to go g5, but it's a little bit scary for Rauf that Vidit is still playing quite quickly. g5, bishop g3, I guess now you take. You can take twice. I wonder if there's a tactic for Vidit, maybe something like bishop h5 attacking this. So not an easy position at all for Rauf to deal with. Let's see what he's going to do. Alright. You can also develop, but bishop d6 might then be an unpleasant move to face. So let's see what he's going to do. I think sooner or later you should take on e4. Vidit also taking the edge on the clock here. And just to remind everyone of the format, we will start off with 2 games of 5+1, then 2 games of 3+1, and then 2 games of 1+1. And the first player to reach 3.5 points will win the match. Rauf has decided to take the pawn on e4. The thing is that after takes, you can take the knight on c7, but this knight on c2 is hanging as well, as is the bishop on e2. So bishop h5, nice move by Vidit. Attacking the pawn on f7. In case you take an e1, I guess you could take here with the check, or you can just recapture, because this knight is hanging, and the pawn on f7. So I don't actually see how Rauf is supposed to defend against both threats. So actually, is he just losing material here? I don't see how he can hang on here. I think he might have to sacrifice something. So, great start so far for Vidit. He's won the first game, and he might be taking game number 2 here as well. I think for Vidit's a good bullet player, but I think Rauf is a little bit more experienced. So Vidit would love to take the lead here in the blitz portion. So let's see if he can. I think if they're tied going into the bullet, Rauf definitely has the edge. So Vidit should try to take at least a 1, maybe a 2-point lead going into that section. Okay, so Rauf does decide to take on e1, and perhaps now you just take with the knight. Again, this is hanging. The pawn on f7 is attacked as well. I guess you can go rook to e7, and then in case of check, maybe you just move your king over. Looks pretty scary, but for the moment, black is hanging on there. So let's see what Vidit's going to go for. You can take an e1, take an f7 right away, but I guess black can just move the king over. So let's see what Vidit is going to do. Okay, Vidit taking his time. I suppose he's gonna take. But yeah, right now this is our only matchup. D-Magi is just waiting for the winner of this match, and he will face him for a shot in the main event. Alright, so let's see what Vidit's gonna do. He definitely has the edge here. He's up on time. He's having a bunch of threats, but of course he still has to convert. So let's see what he's gonna do. Okay. Alright. Lots of options here. Vidit really taking his time, perhaps, in case he takes. Rauf could also play a move like bishop e6. And there we have knight takes e6, knight takes e1 by Vidit. Rook e7 instantly by Rauf, defending the pawn on f7 and the knight on c7. Check, king h7. What about bishop d6 now for Vidit? Attacking the rook. And if the rook moves, should take the knight on c7. So I don't see how Rauf is not losing material here. I think he has to sacrifice somehow, like rook e8, and in case it takes, you can take here and go bishop e6. Perhaps it's still manageable, but it's not looking good. So let's see what he will do. Tough position for Rauf. He goes down 2-0. You know, it's not over just yet, but it's not looking good. He's gonna have to strike back sooner or later. Yeah, Vidit playing super well so far. He was really well prepared going. He showed his opening preparation, and he found some good moves after. So let's see what Rao's gonna do. I think Rao's got to play a move like maybe rook d7 or rook e8. Rook e8, good move. Okay, so in case it takes, I guess you take and go bishop e6, attacking the bishop on d8 and a pawn on a2. So at least black will get a second pawn. So it takes bishop e6. There we have it. You also defend this pawn over here. Maybe Vidit will go bishop e7, forcing the trade of bishops. But again, like Rao will get a second pawn, so it's far from over. That being said, Vidit also has a 1 minute lead on the clock, so certainly not an easy position for Rao to be in. So Vidit's taking his time here. Let's see what he's gonna do. And I would think bishop e6. But let's see if that's the move he will end up playing. Okay, bishop f6 has just been played. Okay, I guess bishop takes a2. And then let's see what Vidit will do. I mean, I guess he can trade and move his knight in. Looks like a pretty safe continuation. White certainly having the edge here, especially if the knight can move into f5. So let's see if that is what he's going to go for. He takes on g7. Black recaptures. Okay, now I guess you move the knight, because it's pretty passive right now. Knight f3, decent move. I guess he wants to go to d4. So what about rook d8 by Rauf? Knight, rook d8, okay, rook c8 possible as well. He wants to go to c2, so now knight e4 looks like a nice move. Stopping rook c2, and your knight wants to jump into f5. And if Vidit gets some time here to go like h3, then check, go knight d6, I think he will have a winning position. He's also up on time, so things looking really good here for Vidit to take a 2-0 lead. Rauf really getting his back pushed against the wall here. So let's see if he can hang on, but it's looking tough. It's looking tough, and he's getting down to his final minute. Vidit having all the chances in the world here to extend his lead. So let's see what Rauf's gonna do. Tough position for Rauf. Okay, he goes rook to c7. Okay, defending the pawn on f7 one more, but now Vidit can also consider a move like b3. Blocking in that bishop, and hey, if you get the time to trap it with rook a1, white will go up another piece. So let's see if Vidit's gonna go for that. However, b3, rook a1 does not threaten to take the bishop just yet, as black will get the move rook c1. So let's see, maybe you start off with a move like king g1, bring the king closer to the action. h3 possible as well. h3, there we have it by Vidit. Okay, a6, risky move by Rauf. Maybe now b3, although I guess you have rook d7, attacking this pawn, this knight over here. You do have a check, but the king can move over. So let's see what Vidit's gonna do. Vidit's time advantage is dwindling, but again, he's still up a piece. Okay, b3 played, rook d7. I think the only move for Rauf to hang on, because you do not want to just lose that bishop over there. Okay, so rook d7 played. Guess maybe check. Goes rook d1, okay. Nice move defending the knight. Note that the rook is defended by the bishop. Knight f5 now is a game-winning threat. Maybe king f6. And now perhaps you bring your own king closer. So let's see what Vidit is going to do. Okay, Vidit also dropping below a minute. It still looks pretty good for him, but he's got to try to keep up the pace. King g1 played. King e5 runs into knight f3. That would not be a good idea. And if Vidit gets time to move the king up, he's going to be in pretty good shape. So let's see what Rauf's going to do here. And if you take, you recapture. The rook is protected. Maybe you can start pushing over here, but it doesn't really do much. You can always take a b5 by Rauf. Okay, king f2, I guess now. Keep moving the king up. Like king f2, king e3, and then rook a1 looks pretty logical. You can also start out with this move. I mean, after the trade, this pawn will be hanging, but king f2, there we have it from Vidit. Bishop e1. A crafty move by Rauf. Now, if you take the bishop, you can take over here. Rook a1 forces black to go passive with... Okay, goes king e3. Okay, that hangs a pawn. g4. Rauf wants to trade off a lot of pawns. If he trades off all of the pawns, he might have a chance to go in a rook and bishop versus rook game, which is not pleasant to defend, but it is theoretically a draw. So rook takes g4. This pawn on g2 is under attack. You cannot... and move his king closer to here. But the nice thing for Vidit is that he can always plant his bishop, let's say in f3, defend this pawn over here, king b1, king a2, goes bishop h5, he wants to put that bishop over here, king e3, but rook f3? Wasn't rook f... No, I guess Rauf would be able to trade off the bishop f3, king f4, I guess. Vidit can take this pawn over here. This should be a win, but check, clever move, and maybe now you take, I guess, h5, h5 check. Okay, king g6. You cannot take with the rook. You cannot take with the bishop because it's pinned. So not over just yet. Wait, Vidit, you gotta move. Rook e6, king up. King up. Check, maybe. He goes rook h4. Rauf should be able here to trade the last pair of pawns. But Vidit should always be able to get a h3 now. Vidit's blown it. Okay, take, and it's gonna be a draw. Take on g2. Take on g2. It's kind of unfortunate for Vidit that he did not even manage to get a rook versus rook and bishop versus rook endgame out of this. And now the game is just gonna end in a draw. So yeah, nothing to be done here. Rook d4. And there we go. Alright, so Vidit wins the 5+1 portion, but it felt like he could have won 2-0. Rauf definitely still in this match. And again, I think Vidit is especially disappointed that he did not find a way to go into a rook and bishop versus rook endgame. Like, let's say he moves the bishop, black can go... Oh, anyway, I was gonna just point out real quick... Oh, well, this was the first game that Vidit won. Just wanted to point out real quick, if Vidit moves the bishop... Okay, well, never mind. Anyway, let's just watch the next game. Let's just watch the next game. And here we have the Vienna opening by Rauf. He goes knight f3, attacking this pawn over here. The knight in f3 is slightly misplaced. That's often why we would love to push the move f4. But now you're going to have to move your knight first. So let's see what's going to happen. Bishop e3 by Rauf. He's offering the trade of bishops. But I think this should be perfectly fine for Vidit. The bishop on g2 to me looks misplaced. You'd rather have it on b3, like in the Armageddon, like in the Italian. The Armageddon breaks tie. It means that the Armageddon will break a tie. That's what it means. Okay, so knight g4, knight g5 attacking the bishop. Bishop g4 attacking the queen. Looks like a pretty fine position for Vidit. Also, to remind everyone, we are now in the 3+1 portion. So it's only gonna get faster and faster from here. I think, again, Vidit would love to take a 2-point lead going into the bullet portion. If it's a 1-point lead, I give Rauf pretty good chances to mount a comeback. But with 2 points, I think Vidit should take it. So let's see, king g7, okay, maybe h3 now for Rauf. Attacking that bishop. If the bishop moves back, there's knight f5. Or wait, d5. d5, the bishop is trapped. All of a sudden, Vidit has blundered. And Rauf looks very good here to create a comeback and level the score. If you take, you recapture, the bishop is trapped, it cannot go anywhere. In case of bishop f5, there's even f4. You can also just take it. This looks terrible for black. Takes everything, follow with rook f1, looks great, and Rauf just decides to go for that. Looks like a terrible position for Vidit. And Rauf's moves are very easy here. You go rook a f1, queen f2. The position really plays itself here. Knight e4 also a threat. Rauf's gonna win this game. Rauf's gonna win this game. This looks unholdable for Vidit. But, of course, he's gonna try to hang on. Rook g8, okay, knight e4 now, or queen f2, both look absolutely crushing. Let's see which one Rauf will settle on. In case of knight e4, you can still take, and in case it takes here, bishop takes e4, there is takes. So maybe you just start off with queen f2. Let's see what Rauf's gonna do. Queen f2, putting more pressure on the knight. Also defending this pawn. But, yeah, it's just a super tough position for Vidit. I mean, queen e7, there might already be stuff like knight e4. He takes on c3. He takes. Now, I guess the nice thing for Vidit is that Rauf's bishop on g2 is not the most active bishop on in the world. Maybe you go, okay, he goes rook f8, maybe now g4, expanding on that side of the board. Okay, c5, nice move, forcing Vidit to take with the pawn. There's d6 here. You can also still push with g4, and that's what Rauf goes for. But knight e8, excellent move by Vidit. He wants to go knight d6, defend this pawn over here, and reroute the knight to a great square, blockading the pawn. But maybe now Rauf should try to break with g5. He goes queen g3 and rook f2. This game is actually far from over. Vidit has built up a nice construction here. He's expanding on the queen side, h4. Rauf would love to break with g5, and Vidit just allows him. I think maybe he should have stopped him with f6. g5, okay, rook h8. Maybe something like rook f6 here. Let's see how Ralph is gonna try to make his way through the black position. Rook f6, this rook is poison. If you take, you run into a fork. So tough position for Vidit. If you push, maybe like queen f2 and then you threaten to take here. It feels like Vidit built up a construction, but now it looks like it's collapsing. And Ralph is gonna put pressure on this knight on d6 and then try to take this pawn. So not easy at all for Vidit to hang on here, who's getting down to his final minute. It looked like Vidit played great chess right out of the start, but now Ralph is coming back. He's only down a point in the match, and this is very much looking like it's going to be his game. King g8, you're still not threatening to take the rook, as white will have a discovery on your king and queen. So let's see how Ralph will continue here. I mean, queen g4 is a good move. You can so move the rook over. Lots of options here for Ralph to improve the position, and he's got a advantage on the clock. Bishop h3 is the move Ralph went for. Okay, so putting some pressure on that knight on d7. This does allow knight to e4 though. Knight e4 could perhaps give Vidit a chance to come back into the game. Queen g4, maybe you sack the rook and take here or take an f6. Let's see what Vidit's gonna do. But if you do not play knight e4, Ralph's gonna take here and go g6, and that looks absolutely crushing. So I think Vidit should go for this move knight e4. So let's see if he will. Okay, goes knight f8, looks a little bit passive. What about g6 here? g6, takes, queen g7, bishop e6, checkmate, and g6 on the board. Ralph's gonna win this game. It looks pretty much over at this point. There's no way to defend here. It's over. It's over. If you take everything, there will be bishop e6 at the end. And yeah, Vidit's gonna go down here. A very unfortunate loss, but it is what it is. He takes... Okay, rook takes g6 is gonna lead to checkmate pretty soon. He takes an f8. Also crushing. Queen takes g6. Queen g7, bishop e6 is over. And Ralph is taking his time. Okay, he takes the queen. Okay, I mean, he's still winning after queen e5, but, you know, he still has to win, but there we go. He levels up the score. Okay, so it's 1.5, 1.5. And we saw how Vidit scored how he got a great position against Ralph's King's Indian. So very understandably, Ralph mixes it up with the Tarash, I guess this is. Okay, knight c6. Let's see what Vidit's gonna do. Could take on c5. g3 is also an option. So let's see what he will play here. He goes g3. Now let's see if Ralph will go into the Tarash or yeah. Okay, lots of options here for white. Let's see which one Vidit will choose. He takes on c5 and goes knight a4, kicking the bishop away to the more passive square on e7, so that then he can develop his own bishop to e3 and follow up with rook c1. Bishop e6 played by Ralph. Okay, that's possible. The drawback, however, is that white can always trade off their knight for this bishop. Okay, b3 played by Vidit, aiming to fianchetto his bishop on b2. Okay, so let's see what Ralph is going to do. Maybe he will move his bishop back to c7. Rook e8, bishop b2. I like this position for Vidit. Black has got the isolated pawn on d5. He can always get the bishop pair over here. Now Ralph would be forced to recapture with the a pawn, because if you take out the queen, you hang this pawn on d5. Okay, so Vidit takes, pawn takes b6, forced by Ralph Mamedov. And now you want to go rook c1, but that's going to hang this pawn over here. So maybe you have to spend a move on something like a3, but knight d4, also a nice move by Vidit. Putting his knight in the middle. He would love this trade here, because then his queen would get to the nice d4 square, putting pressure all over the board. And now might be a good time for Ralph to start creating counterplay with this typical h5, h4 push. Let's see if he's going to go for it. He goes queen f6, putting pressure on the knight on d4. And Vidit can just play a move like e3, solidifying the knight a little bit. He goes a3 instead, because I guess he wants to move this rook into the game and not hang the a2 pawn. But let's see what Ralph's going to do. Maybe now, again, is the time to go h5, h4, create some counterplay. Knight g5, followed by knight h3, move as well. So let's see which one Ralph's going to go for. But I think he's got to try to create counterplay at some point. If he just sits and waits, it's going to be unpleasant. White has got a better pawn structure, the bishop pair. So black has to create counterplay one way or another. So let's see how he will try to do so. Alright, Ralph taking his time here. Vidit is building up a nice time advantage. He's up 50 seconds on the clock here. Maybe you just continue your development with bishop d7, also possible of course. Let's see what he is going to do. I mean, h5 also a nice move. He's got to move here. You cannot fall too far behind on the clock. There's only the 1 second increment, which is not fun to deal with. He's got to move. I mean, just maybe h5, h4. Just choose a move and go with it. Okay, Rao taking a lot of time here. Goes queen e7 after a 1 minute and 17 second think. Okay, he's stepping out of this diagonal, but Vidit was not threatening to take just yet. Maybe now just e3 by Vidit. Solidifying the knight on d4. Goes rook c1, also a nice move. He's threatening to take here. Bishop d7 now by Ralph. Maybe again e3 or knight b5, also a solo move. Let's see what Vidit will do. I would personally just go e3, like solidify the position. Okay, knight b5, hitting the pawn and threatening knight c7, so bishop b6. Defending against both threats, b4 by Vidit. And Ralph goes for it with the move h5. He wants to go h4 and soften up White's kingside a little bit. I think an excellent move. He's got to try to create counterplay somehow. You don't just want to sit and wait. And this is always annoying to deal with White. What do? Do you go h4? Well, that's possible, but it softens up the g3 pawn a little bit. Vidit goes e3, attacking the pawn. So now Ralph has, he said A, now he has to say B. He's got to go h4. White can take though, with the idea that in case black recaptures, there is the fork with knight c7, but you do not want to play g6. You do not want to play g6 and weaken this long diagonal, so I think he has to go h4 here. But Ralph really struggling to find the pace here. He's now getting down to his final 40 seconds. h4 finally played, and Vidit goes queen h5 instantly. Alright, so takes h3. Wait, that's just a free pawn. Just take it. I mean, I don't really see a trick there for black. I think it's a nice pawn to get rid of. Okay, so we see the trade. Knight d2 by Ralph jumping in, but you just go rook fd1. You do not go here, as that would allow a fork, but rook fd1 and Vidit has a dominant position. He's up a pawn, this is weak, queen g4 will always threaten checkmate. Wonder why he's thinking queen g4 right away is also possible, and but that allows d4. That allows d4 the intermezzo for Ralph, and then if you go here, there might be stuff like, there might be a move like knight e5. Yeah, knight e5, d4, knight e5. That would all of a sudden make it very tricky. Ralph down to his last 16 seconds. Is he going to find d4? In case you take, maybe also knight e5. He goes knight e5 right away, but now White can just take. Take, and rook fd1. This looks great for Vidit. Rook fd1. There we go. Knight is under attack. Knight e4. Maybe just queen f4. Offer queen g, or knight c7. Forking the rooks. Does that win the game? And he goes knight c7, forking the two rooks. I think Vidit's looking very good here to take the lead again. Queen b2, attacking this pawn over here. Maybe just queen f4, but black then has to move rook ac8, taking advantage of this rook on c1. So let's see what Vidit's gonna do. Queen f4, rook ac8, only move to hang on. Yep, and he finds it. Okay, the knight you can take, but you hang the rook on c1. So it's far from over yet. Maybe Vidit should move the king to make sure that this never comes with a check. Let's see what he's gonna do. It's getting very tricky here. But Ralph down to his last 10 seconds. Well, Vidit still has a nice amount of time. He still has 45 seconds on the clock. Let's see what he's going to do. King g2 played. Excellent move by Vidit. Ralph now down to his last 6 seconds. He goes rook to d8. Vidit has... Wait, can he go here, here? Knight e7 here. And then knight g6. Or something like that. It looks winning. Knight takes d5, rook takes c1, knight e7. Looks crushing. If you move to the h file, this is checkmate. And if you go to f8, I think knight g6 is winning. King e8, queen takes c4. Is he going to find it? Knight takes d5. He's got the time in the world. He's got the time. Knight takes d5 wins the game. Is Vidit going to find it? You gotta go. You gotta go. Knight takes d5. Is he going to find it? And there we go. Knight takes d5. Great find. Knight e7. It's just checkmate. Knight g6. Knight g6. And he finds it. King e8 runs to queen takes c4. And in case of king g8, you take here... King h7 and knight f8. It's got to be checkmate. It's got to be checkmate. Knight f8 leads to mate. Yeah. Knight e6. Knight e6. And you take here. Wow. So great game by Vidit. He wins game number 4. And so he goes into the bullet portion with a 1-point lead. But do not count out Ralph Mamedov. We know what a strong bullet player he is. So he's definitely capable of mounting a comeback here. Alright. So I assume the next games are going to start pretty soon. So... let's wait and see. The players who qualify to the main event. Okay, so one player has already qualified, Yu Yang Yi. but one more player will qualify, the winner of the losers bracket. So it's either going to be Ralph, Mamedov, Vidit, or D-Magi. The winner of this matchup will face D-Magi in the final of the losers bracket. Bishop d6. Ralph playing a reversed modern opening, but I don't think Vidit can be too unhappy. Let's see how he's going to deal with this move. e4. Okay, he just goes h6, knight h4. Okay, bishop b6, defending this pawn. h3, I guess castles. Okay, knight bd7. I like Vidit's position here. He's nicely developed. He's got the center. Ralph playing a very dodgy opening. I think he just wants to avoid Vidit's opening preparation. Okay, so castles, knight f3. That's a little bit odd. I wonder if Ralph slipped there. Maybe he meant to play queen f3. Because to me it looks really odd to go knight h4 and then knight back. But, okay, Vidit taking his time here. Ralph certainly stepped up the pace. Bishop b4 by Vidit. I wonder in case of castles if he wants to take. But Ralph goes bishop to d2. Maybe now Vidit will go d4, but then Ralph will move the knight back. He takes an e4. Alright, so let's see what Ralph's going to do. He takes the pawn. Maybe now b5, followed by bishop c4. Is always an unpleasant idea. And there we go, b5. a3. Wait, bishop c4. Where you have to go here. No, this is not good. You cannot go to e3 because then bishop c5. But Vidit goes passive with bishop e7. Bishop c4. You have to go to d1. If you go to e3, you lose your queen. Knight h7. Nice move by Vidit. Maybe b3. He goes h4. Ralph going all out on the king side with h4 and g5. Let's see what Vidit's going to do. He goes bishop b6, taking the pawn. g5. Okay, h5, nice move by Vidit, keeping it closed. Let's see what Ralph's going to do. Maybe queen here. Queen here. Okay, you can just go bishop c4 and the queen has to move back. a5 by Vidit. Maybe bishop h3, offering to trade bishops. Ralph having a slight edge on the clock here. Knight to d1. He wants to move the knight around to e3. Now you have to go to e3. Bishop c5, there's queen c3. Knight, okay, queen c3, and the knight is hopping back to e3. This is very tricky. Okay, knight e5. Can you take bishop d4, queen g3? I don't know what's going on. Bishop d4, can you do this? No, you can't. b3, also a possibility. Black has to go here. 20 seconds apiece. What is Ralph Mamedov going to do here? Queen takes e5, okay. Bishop d6, attacking the queen. Queen d4, c5, kicking the queen around. Rook e8, bring the rook into the game. b3, but knight d5, knight d5. Great find by Vidit, and white is losing the queen. Bishop takes d5, another great move, and the queen is trapped. Vidit might take this game. If he wins this game, he wins the match. The queen is trapped. Take it, or just move your bishop. Move your bishop. Looks like a great position for Vidit, who's got a queen for a rook and a knight. But look at white's king is pretty exposed over here. Rook 81, maybe knight f8 to g6. That looks like a great way to reroute the knight. Okay, Ralph bringing his rooks into the game. Knight f8. Alright, knight g6. Knight d5, maybe just queen b7. Great move by Vidit. c4, but take a4. What a move! Breaking down white's pawn chain. Wow, and Ralph takes, but pawn takes c4. Everything is collapsing. If you move the knight, you hang the knight on c3. Rook a1, queen a8. Vidit extremely close to making it to the next stage here. Queen a6, c3 check. Alright, and c2, there's c2. c2 forking both the rooks. And Vidit wins the first bullet game, and with that the match. Wow. Great play by Vidit, who goes on to qualify to the final of the losers bracket against Bogdan Dejac. Wow, what a match. Alright, so we'll have to wait for that match to start. Alright, so we are going on a very short break, but do not go anywhere, as you do not want to miss the final of... Okay, wait, let's pull up the losers bracket. Let's pull up the bracket real quick. As you guys can see here, we see that Vidit won the semifinal of the losers bracket, and now he is going to be playing against Bogdan Dejac. Alright, there's going to be no grand final. Yu Yanyi is already qualified, so whoever wins, Vidit or Bogdan Dejac, qualifies to the main event. Anyway, with all of that being said and done, we are going on a very short break, but I will see you guys very soon. You do not want to miss the action, because we are going to find out who is going to be the second qualifier to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. Welcome back everyone to the first qualifier to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. I'm your host, Grandmaster Benjamin Bach, and we are now watching the final of the losers bracket between Bogdan Dejic and Vidit Gujrati. The winner of this match will make it into the main event, so the stage is set. Let's see who will do it. So Dejic was already very close. He was playing Yu Yi earlier, however he lost that final match, but he still has a chance here. Vidit, on the other hand, had to come back all the way from the losers bracket, and so here he has his chance. So we see that white has a slightly better position because this isolated pawn on d5, but it's only one weakness. Let's see if it will be enough for Dejic to create real problems here for Vidit. Vidit offering the trade of knights, so let's see if he will trade or move a rook to d1 and let black trade. Vidit on the other hand has got the c file, so he's not doing too bad. You do not want to take by the way with the b pawn because that would hang the pawn over here. So rook 81 by Dejic, and the more I look at it, the more I'm starting to like it for Dejic. It's not easy at all to hang on to this d5 pawn. So let's see how Vidit will try to do so. All right, so okay, guys, rook to c5 can be played here, and white's gonna blockade on d4, followed by moving the other rook to d1, putting full pressure on the d5 pawn. Right, so just a reminder everyone, we started with 2 games of 5+1, then we will play 2 games of 3+1, and then we will finish it off with 2 games of 1+1. And the first player to reach 3.5 points wins the match, and in this case will qualify to the main event. Alright, so, and for those of you who don't know what's happening in the main event, we've got Magnus Carlsen, we've got Hikaru Nakamura, all the big stars in the world lined up to play, so you definitely want to make it in there. And okay, so we see queen to d1 by Dejic. Now perhaps rook c2. You wouldn't mind trading off your weak d5 pawn for the a pawn. So I guess after rook c2, maybe you should play a move like rook d2. But I guess Vidit can trade, maybe go queen f5, trying to go rook c2 again. He goes rook c5, defending the pawn. I feel like Vidit should hold here. Again, white is a little bit better, but it to me doesn't seem like enough. It's because black has got this open c file. And if you move your queen, it can always be pushed around by these rooks. So I feel like Vidit should hold. So it doesn't seem easy at all for white to make progress. But let's see how Dejic will try to do so. Maybe you move like rook d2, so then you move your queen, put the other rook on the d file. At least you're making small steps to improvement. So let's see what he's gonna do. Okay, h4 by Dejic. I assume that he wants to go g3. And he couldn't go g3 right here because that would hang the pawn on h3. So clever little move h4. Vidit did not want to allow to move h5, so that's why he goes h5 himself. And now he goes a5, gaining a little bit more space, discouraging white from going b4 and attacking his rook. So let's see what Dejic is going to do. Maybe queen f3, putting pressure on this pawn. He could follow with this, but the moment you move your queen, you're going to allow black to play rook to c2. So let's see what he's going to do. We saw earlier, by the way, in the match between Dejic and Yu Yi, that Dejic was struggling with his time management. He lost the game on time, he often got low on time and blundered, so he really has to try to do better on that end in this match against Vidit. But he is already falling a minute and 20 seconds behind on the clock, so let's see how he will try to speed up. I guess, again, moving the queen or maybe moving the rook back, it all looks fine. Just make sure you keep time, because Vidit still has a nice bank of 3 minutes and 42 on his clock. Alright, so Dejic taking his time here. Maybe king g2, moving the king up the board a little bit. Cannot hurt. But again, you just gotta keep making moves. You gotta keep making moves. You cannot fall too far behind on the clock, as he will need that time later. He will need that time later if he wants to create real problems for Vidit. Okay, he goes a4, stopping black from expanding. Makes sense. Maybe now Vidit can go b5 anyway, because after take stakes he can go after the pawn on b3. Let's see if he's going to do that, or, play a move like king g7, slowly but surely improving the position. He goes b6, solidifying everything. Alright, so let's see what Dejic is going to do here. As people pointed out in the chat, that dangerous 17th piece, exactly. You do not want to fall too far behind, as Dejic is doing now. He's now down 2 minutes on the clock. I wonder what Vidit's going to do after queen f3, I guess rook c3, but maybe just rook b1. Dejic's just got to keep moving, maybe just a move like king g2. Doesn't really seem anything wrong with that. But again, the clock. He's getting down to 1 minute and 15 seconds. He's really got to speed up here. I don't really think he can realistically lose this one, but with a couple seconds on your clock, you can lose any position. You can lose on time, you can blunder, anything can happen. And he goes for king to g2. Alright, I think Vidit's just gonna do the same and go king g7, slightly improving the placement of his king. He could also go rook c2, because in case you take, there's now queen takes c3. He goes queen f5, also very reasonable move. I guess he wants to go here. Let's see what's gonna happen. I guess maybe queen f3 by D-Magi, offering the trade queens. And he should still be completely fine. He should not lose this game. He should not lose this game. But again, of course, anything can happen with the time situation. So let's see what he's gonna do. Queen e3, also solid move. I guess black will just trade and go rook c3, and black should be completely fine. But let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, D-Magi getting down to his last 30 seconds. He's really gonna move here. He goes rook f4. I think Vidit's just gonna move back to e6. Okay, or you can also move to e5. Let's see which one he's gonna go for. Okay, Vidit now taking a little bit of time. Let's see where he's gonna go. I guess here are his two main candidates. I guess though the drawback of queen e5 is that it allows queen f3 with a tempo. So I guess you want to go here to make sure that queen f3, your pawn on f7 is already defended and you don't have to spend a move defending it. I guess you want to go here. Okay, Vidit now taking his time. Let's see where he's gonna go. And I wonder if D-Magi is going to move back and forth, or if he will find a way to keep the game going. Vidit goes queen to c2. Okay, maybe now queen... Okay, queen f3 is a move, but it does hang this, which is fine for D-Magi, but he's going into the complications, and he's low on time. He can also keep it very safe and just trade over here and go rook d1. He goes rook f6 right away. Okay, maybe now check for Vidit or b5. Both moves look completely fine in case it takes and take. I guess rook b2 should be a comfortable draw. Queen e4 check by Vidit, maybe queen f3 now, maybe you trade and go like rook c6. If anything, D-Magi is still better. D-Magi is still better. He's got the better pawn structure. This pawn is weak, this pawn is weak, so Vidit still has to be careful. It's just that D-Magi is very low on time. Okay, so rook c6 now perhaps, trading the rooks, and then you can go rook c3 quickly. Should be pretty fine for Vidit. Okay, so rook c6 play, trade, rook d1, rook c3. You know, it's all fine. Okay, rook c3, going for the active defense. Okay, I think Vidit, okay, b4, okay. I guess you just take, and it's probably going to come down to an endgame like this. Takes, rook takes d5, rook a3, here, you take here, which should be a draw, but actually, the rook on a4 is like a little bit misplaced. Okay, Vidit takes on d5, rook a3, rook b5, take, g7, but it's slightly more pleasant for white, as this rook on a4 is misplaced, but now he's allowing b3, or rook a2, and rook b2. King f3, rook b2, now the rook has certainly improved over the last couple of moves, maybe just b3. Okay, e5 by D-Magi, rook b1, and I wonder what Vidit's gonna do. He can just go rook b1 and just trade everything off. He goes king f8, okay, king f4 by D-Magi. You have to be a little bit careful, by the way. You do not want to allow this king to walk up the board. So maybe b2 is necessary here. Maybe b2. But b2 already there's some stuff like e6 and king g5. It's already getting a little bit tricky. I think Vidit right here, he really should have tried to trade off that b pawn for the e pawn earlier. Because his rook on b1 is actually a little bit passive. It's stuck defending this pawn over here. Rook f1 attacking the pawn. Okay, you just go f3. And now this pawn is hanging. If you go rook b1, I mean, there might already be stuff like e6 or king g5 right away. Wait, this is a big threat. How do you deal with this? Rook f1, you can just take. Wait, Vidit in real danger here. Vidit in real danger. This could go wrong. King f6 is a big threat. If you go rook f1, you can just take the pawn. It's all still a draw, but you're gonna have to defend an annoying 4 versus 3 endgame. So let's see which move he's gonna go for. King g7 runs into e6. That's not really a possibility. Oh, D-Magi offered a draw earlier, but Vidit declined it. Wow. Okay, rook c1, e6 here. e6. He takes the pawn. Understandable that he didn't want to take any risks. Low on time. Rook b7, rook e3, also fine. Let's see what D-Magi is going to do. Maybe g4 here, rook e4, rook c3. You do not want to trade into a lost king and pawn endgame, or rook and pawn endgame, king of 4. But now you just wait. Now you just wait with rook b3, and you wait. You want to keep an eye on this pawn in g4 or in f3, so it's difficult to try to move. You just keep shuffling. Okay, e6 is now a threat, so I guess you go back. Rook d4, okay, you just wait, or king g7, yep, king f8. G4 by Dh. Okay, so I guess take. Still white is pushing, but it all should be a draw. Check. King G5, Rook E5 looks pretty convincing. Or Rook E4, sorry. Goes there. Also possible. Maybe H5 by Dh. He goes King G5 first. Rook E6 now. Perhaps. Although, then there might be a tricky move like this. King G7 is possible. Rook E6. King F4. King G7. Yeah, this... Okay, Rook back. Maybe H5. Okay, this is not over yet. Dh will get that pawn H6. Vidit has to take. Let's see. Everything should be a draw here. I think you should try to activate your rook. And there we go. Rook A8. H6. King H7. Rook F6. I guess you just go here. Maybe you just sit. Yeah, I think you just sit. Rook A7 and you sit. And the moment you sit... Oh. He had a chance to go Rook F5 there, apparently. Okay, now you go Rook down. Okay, wait, King F6. Okay, King F6. Take Rook D8. Wait, this is tricky. Wait, is Vidit lost? Rook F8? Rook F8? The king is too far away. I think it's lost. It's lost. What a turnaround. Take. You have to check. No, but now you check and you go Rook E1. Or there. And the king gets closer. King G6. This should be a draw now. King G7. Check. Rook A8. This is a theoretical King G6. This is a theoretical endgame King G7. King G6. There's nothing I can do here. Check. And this might already be a threefold, and there we go. Yeah, alright, Vidit, after some up and downs, holds this game to a draw. Dh was winning there for a second, but he missed it while he was low on time. So now we're off to game number 2 while the players are still tied. Okay, so big save for Vidit there. Okay, and we're starting off with a Queen's Gambit here. Let's see what Dh is going to do here. He goes C5, trying to simplify the game. And E3, played by Vidit. He wants to keep pieces on the board. Okay, Dh takes on D4, ED by Vidit. Bishop B4. I think the main continuation here is to take and go Bishop D2. And that is what... Okay, goes Queen C2, also possible. Bishop D7. Both players still playing quickly. They might still be in their preparation. Bishop C6 by Dh. Activating the bishop on the long diagonal. I guess Vidit can just castle here in case it takes you recapture, take the bishop. So you're not forced to recapture on F3 and ruin your kingside pawn structure. So let's see if that's what Vidit is going to go for. But yeah, a good game by Dh. I think Vidit for a moment got a little bit too careless. And but Dh has to play faster. But right now it's Vidit in the tank. So let's see what he's going to do. Okay, he goes for castles. Knight D7 by Dh. To make sure that after 95 you can just trade. So let's see what Vidit's going to do here. I like the fact that Dh is still in his prep. He's playing quickly and confidently. Knight E4 by Vidit. Perhaps now you just castle. And I feel like black should be doing quite okay. You have this isolated pawn on D4. White's got some piece activity, but black's pieces are pretty active as well. Queen E2, I think now is a good moment to castle. So let's see if that is what Dh will do. It goes Bishop B7 back first, also possible. Introducing the idea of Knight B4. So maybe Vidit will play a move like A3. And then I assume black is going to castle. But I like Dh's position. Okay, H4 by Vidit. Wow, he's already pushing that H pawn on the board, even though black is not castled yet. Knight B4 is a possibility. H6, okay, Knight F6 also possible by Dh, trying to trade off some pieces. So let's see what Vidit will do. Maybe like Knight G5, but after H6, are you really going to sack? Perhaps he goes for it. Okay, so let's see. In case of H6, you're pretty much committed to sack. Because if you move back to H3, the knight looks misplaced there. You can move back to E4, but then you've just lost 2 tempi. So I guess Vidit does want to sack. He has a check, and queen takes E6, threatening checkmate. But there is Bishop D5 to cover it. And I feel like black should be doing okay here. So Dh could invite that sacrifice with H6, but he can also just go castles here. But then I guess Vidit wants to go Knight E5, and then he has 2 active knights. So let's see what Dh is going to do. Okay, he goes for kingside castles. Now I expect to move Knight E5 by Vidit. Moving the knight in the middle of the board. He can potentially remove this bishop on C6. But he might also be looking at some sacrifice. So Knight E5, Bishop D5, nice move by Dh. Keeping the bishop on the board. And now you're better prepared for any sacrifices on e6 or f7. So now D-Magi might be going h6 on the next move. Bishop f4 by Vidit, bringing another piece into the game. Maybe h6 here, but I guess you just move the knight back to f3, and there we go, h6. I guess knight f3, keeping pieces on the board. Alright, so let's see what he's going to do. You can go knight e4, but I don't think you should be too eager to do that. Because since you have the isolated pawn, I think you want to keep pieces on the board to try to go for an attack. Like, the more pieces that gets traded off, the weaker that d4 pawn gets, and the lesser attacking chances you will have. Alright, so we see knight to knight gf3. Good move. Alright, so let's see what's going to happen. D-Magi can trade here. He goes queen b6, bringing his queen into the game. Maybe now it's time for Vidit to activate one of his rooks. Maybe rook e1, rook d1. Maybe a3 with the idea to go here and not hang this pawn over here. a3 has just been played. Maybe now D-Magi can take. You force white to recapture with the pawn. Because if you take with the knight, you hang the pawn on e4. And then there might be some possibilities like knight g4, combined with bishop c5. Let's see if that is what D-Magi will go for. You can also bring this rook into the game with rook f8. That's a very solid move as well. Alright, so let's see what D-Magi is going to do. The World Cup has not been won yet by anyone. The finals going on, and the first game ended in a draw between Magnus and Pragnananda. Okay, so D-Magi in the tank here. Time is even, both players just below 3 minutes. So let's see which move he's going to play. To me, rook f8 looks perfectly natural, bring that rook into the game. But you can also go for the straight. So let's see what he is going to do. Alright, taking his time here. Again, like, he played pretty quickly in the beginning of this game, but now he's thinking, and he should try to keep that edge on the clock. Okay, he takes on f3, knight takes maybe bishop d6, offering to trade the bishops, but Vidit can keep that bishop on the board with bishop to d2. If you take, there is the move rook fb1 and the queen is trapped. So I feel like that was an unnecessary concession by D-Magi to give up his bishop for the knight. Like, he can go knight d5, but Vidit can just go g3, stopping knight f4, slowly improve with moves like king g2. And I'm starting to like white's position a little bit. I think white has a slight, I mean, it should be around even, but I think Vidit could end up with an edge here because of his bishop pair. And his moves seem a little bit easier. Rook f8 by D-Magi. I wonder if he wants to go for the move e5, breaking in the center. Let's see how Vidit is going to deal with that. He can maybe move his rook into the game, either the e1 or the d1. So let's see what he is going to do. But right now, Vidit also has a slight edge on the clock. He's up almost 30 seconds. Alright, so let's see what he's going to do. Okay, he goes b4. Alright, so let's see what is going to happen here. Alright, so yeah, b4 by Vidit, expanding on the queen side. Okay, so maybe now knight d5, I guess you go g3, a5, okay, you just take. Not easy to come up with a plan here for D-Magi, and that is why he's thinking. He's wondering, like, hey, how do I improve my position? What do I do here? But there are no obvious moves. Maybe what he should do is go for a move like knight d5, with the positional threat, so to speak, of knight f4, to get rid of one of white's bishops. And in case white goes g3, maybe knight c3, queen e3, and just jump back and forth. Because I think, you know, with the current time situation, D-Magi should not be unhappy with a draw here. But let's see what he's gonna do. I mean, he's playing a fine game, but it's just the time. He's down more than a minute on the clock here, and so he's got to speed up. He's just got to make moves like knight d5, knight f6. Just make moves. But he's taking a lot of time here. Okay, knight e5 has been played. Knight f4 is a positional threat, as white is forced to give one of his bishops. That being said, though, I wonder how eager you are to go knight f4, because white can take and go queen e4, attacking the bishop and threatening to say hello on h7. So perhaps you shouldn't go knight f4 there. Maybe that... Okay, I guess in case of rook c1... Okay, Vidit stops it with the move g3, knight f6 by Dej. Maybe now move like king g2 by Vidit, slowly but surely improving his position. But it goes rook c1, also a good move, bring the rook into the game. And I like the fact that Vidit is keeping the pace. a6 by Dej, king g2 by Vidit, queen a7. At some point you'd like to go knight e5, but that does hang the pawn on d4, bishop e1. Logical move by Vidit, he wants to put his queen on d3 to line up the queen and bishop. And then, maybe, potentially, you can go for an idea like g4, g5 to dislodge the knight, but it's going to be difficult to make it work. a5 by Dej. The idea is that in case you take, you hang the pawn on a3. So let's see what Vidit is going to do. I mean, I guess you have to take, because this pawn is hanging. You can also trade the rooks first. So let's see what he's going to do. Vidit up a minute on the clock here. Can he put that time advantage to work? Let's see what he's going to do. Okay, he takes on c8, black recaptures, he takes on a5. Black takes on a3. Now maybe queen b5 or queen e3. Both look pretty fine for white. Okay, queen b5. Stopping black from playing bishop b4, I think a nice move. And if Vidit gets a time here, maybe he'll move his bishop, go rook b1, and put some pressure on that pawn on b7. So let's see what Dej is going to do. I think it makes sense to move that bishop all the way back, make sure it's never hanging. But again, look at the clock, he's down to his last 16 seconds, he's got to move here. He's got to move. Knight c3, by the way, move as well, but 12, you got to move. You got to move, you cannot get this long time. You got to move. b6, a6, I think Vidit certainly should go a6 to keep the position complicated. In case you trade, it gets pretty simplified, but a6, is there knight c7? Queen b3 takes... Bishop d3 though, followed by rook a1, looks tricky. I think Vidit should go for it. a6 followed by bishop d3, and all of a sudden you have a big asset there with the pawn on a6. And with Dej's clock, that could certainly cause him some trouble. Also the queen on a7 would all of a sudden be shot out of the game. So I think Vidit should certainly go for it. Is he going to play it? Let's see if he will do it. I think it will definitely give him a chance. He takes on b6 again, but now queen takes b6. This makes Dej's life much easier. We see the queen trade. Because here, yes, it's still a factor that you have 8 seconds, but it's not as much of a factor. Bishop d6, maybe now rook to b7, putting the rook there. And the annoying thing is you don't have an easy way to get rid of that rook. If you go rook c7, there's rook check, rook b8, you go rook a7, keeping the rooks on the board. You can also trade, but it should just be a draw. So I think Vidit missed an opportunity there with pawn a6. Now it should just be headed for a draw. So let's see, rook a7, Vidit keeps the game going, bishop b4, maybe bishop c1, keeping pieces on the board, that's what he does. Rook c8, attacking the bishop, bishop b2 maybe, okay, bishop d6, maybe now knight e5, rook b7, rook b8, forcing the trade of rooks, bishop c1, bishop d6, this one should just be headed for a draw, let's see what's going to happen. Knight there, bishop b5, attacking the knight jumps around, knight e5 maybe, h5, good move by Dej. King moves to the middle. I guess at some point you will put the knight here. Let's see if they're just going to move back and forth, or if one player is going to try something to try and win. Dej having the slightly better pawn structure, but Vidit having the bishop pair. So it's dynamically balanced. And neither player can't really do much. Knight f5. Knight c2. Okay, I guess you just sit and wait. Dej bring his king around, maybe a check. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. He's putting pressure over here. Okay, Dej of course can still flag. He's moving with 2 to 3 seconds. I think they're going to move back and forth here. And there we have it. I called it. Alright, so they are all tied after the 5+1 portion. And now we're moving into the 3+1 portion. Let's see what's going to happen here. Alright, so game should be starting very soon. Let's see. And we are off. Okay, so we now are playing with a time control of 3 minutes plus a 1 second increment. Dej is not there. Okay, and we're off. Pawn e4. Expect e5 by Vidit. Okay, and we have a Ruy Lopez Berlin variation by Vidit. Okay, so Dej goes down the rook e1 variation. White can hope here for a very small edge, but black is always extremely solid. So d4, bishop f6. Let's see where he's going to go with the rook. Rook e1, bishop f4. Here you take an e1 and you go knight e8, that's the main line. And white can just defend the pawn with c3, but you can also go for tricky moves. That's queen c3, knight c3 move as well. So let's see what Dej's idea is here. d5 by Vidit, keeping it symmetrical, maybe c6 alleviating the pressure on that c7 pawn, and so then you can move out that bishop to f5. Looks pretty solid to me. Rook e1, bishop f5 now I expect. And white perhaps is a slightly better position, but generally it isn't enough to pose real problems for black. So let's see what D-Magi is going to do here. Maybe knight b3 or bishop d3. It's probably going to be pretty dry here. Knight b3. You can move this knight into the game with knight d7 to e6. You can also go g6, knight ge7. That's also a pretty typical maneuver. Knight d6 by Vidit. But wait, this allows queen b4, attacking the knight and the pawn on b7. I don't know if Vidit should have allowed that. You have knight b5, but white can take and actually just win a pawn. So slight mistake there by Vidit, and I'm sure D-Magi is looking at this move queen b4. Bishop e7, by the way, loses the game to rook takes e7. So what does Vidit have in mind there? Did he just miss the move queen to b4 altogether? That's quite a sloppy move. He's gonna have to sack a pawn here. I mean, I guess knight b5, it might not be the end of the world because you can still take this pawn on c2, but he is gonna sack a pawn here. A sloppy move there by Vidit. Okay, and D-Magi keeping a decent pace here. Let's see what Vidit's gonna do here. Okay, he's gonna have to move that knight. Knight c4 a possibility as well to attack this pawn over here, but I think white just takes and then takes the pawn on c6. So let's see what Vidit is gonna do. He's now getting down to 2 minutes. Again, the winner of this match will make it into the main event, so the stakes are pretty high here. If you make it into the main event, you're already guaranteed a nice cash prize. Alright, so knight b5. In case of a4, Vidit is banking on the move a5, kicking the queen away. So I think D-Magi should take. Now he has the opportunity. If you wait with a move like c3, wait a5, I just realized white can take. And in case you take, you can take. And there is a back rank checkmate at the end. So a5, a4 on the board. But what Vidit could do is go a5, takes, knight takes d4. Nice find there by Vidit. You can go queen e2 back, but then after knight d6 the game is completely even. So D-Magi missed an opportunity there. He could have taken the knight. Again, if taken d4, black takes here. You can take a pawn, but after queen somewhere, let's say here, this is under attack, and black should be doing okay. So let's see what D-Magi is going to do here. I think he just missed an opportunity there. And now he's getting down on time. He's down to 130. I guess you might have to go back to d2, but then after knight d6, black is doing perfectly fine. Let's see what he will play. Alright, again, knight takes a5, there's knight takes d4. Your queen is under attack. You can also move it here, but the queen can always get trapped there. So I think he will eventually decide to go back here. Knight takes a5. I don't think this line really works out for white, like queen d7. This pawn is under attack, and it would also fork the queen and the rook. So like knight here, here. Let's see what D-Magi is going to go for. But he's dropping down to a minute. Again, he's got to be really careful with his time management. If Vidit can keep the game going here, if he can complicate somehow, that time advantage will definitely be a factor. So let's see what he will do. Okay, he takes on a5. Okay, knight takes d4, knight takes b7. The queen is under attack, queen d7. Vidit spent his time calculating on D-Magi's move. Now, I guess knight is c5, runs into queen c8, and this pawn is still under attack. Okay, knight c5 or queen a7. Fantastic move by Vidit. Keeping an eye on the knight. And how do you deal with this sort of knight takes c2? What do you do here? You cannot stop it. If you go bishop d3, black will take and go knight takes c2 after forking your queen and your rook. You have to play a move like moving the rook, but where? I mean, rook d1, you take here. Tough position for Deo, who is down to his last 12 seconds. He's got to move here. Queen b7. Okay, but now you can trade and take on c2. The rook is under attack. This is under attack. This is under attack. Looks like a great position for Vidit. I'm sure he sees this. You should not take on c2, by the way, because then white trades and goes rook e8. So trade. Takes on c2. Rook e2. Okay. Maybe knight back for Vidit. The knight on b7 is also slightly off. You can take this pawn over here, but white is going to push this pawn on the board with a5 and a6. So let's see what Vidit's going to do. He's got 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock. Well, D-Magi is down to his last 12 seconds. So again, the time again, a factor here in this game. Maybe knight d4 back. h6 by Vidit, creating some move for his king. But now Vidit can jump back with the knight. Knight d6 and attack that bishop on f5. Okay, goes knight c5. I think now Vidit can just take this pawn over here. And he's up a pawn. Is he gonna take it? Okay, goes rook a5, attacking the knight. But now D-Magi can... Okay, he's down to 3 seconds. Gotta move. Bishop d6 defending the knight. Okay, if you take now, there might be stuff like... I don't know, check and g4. If you take, there's here. Bishop g6, there's... Okay, g4, tricky move. If you take, there's check and bishop d3. Bishop g6, check. And knight d7. Threatening check over here. How do you get out of this? Maybe you have to move the bishop. The only safe square is over here. And white has got a check, but there's nothing more. Check. There's no mate as you can take the knight, but this looks super tricky for Vidit. I think you have to go bishop b4, the only move not to lose the game. You have to go bishop b4, and he finds it. Check, king here. Is Deus just gonna force a repetition? I think so with the time situation. And there we go. The third game also ends in a draw. Vidit certainly missed an opportunity there. He had a big advantage on the clock and on the board, but he let it slip, and so we're off to game number 4 with a 1.5 tie. Okay, so Vidit going for the Italian opening. They're playing very solid, playing with d6 and a5. Vidit now probably going to bring his knight over to the king side with knight f1 to g3. Deak castles as well, h3 by Vidit. All pretty standard stuff. Let's see what Deak is going to do. There's many setups black can go for. You can go knight e7 to g6. You can go bishop b6. Bishop b5 by Vidit, knight e7. Okay, so d4, Vidit expands in the center. So let's see what's going to happen here. Maybe c6 or knight g6 possible as well. I guess now might be a good time to go knight f1 to g3. Well, let's see which one Vidit will go for. It should be approximately even here. He goes bishop to a4. Alright, so he wants to move his bishop back to c2 to add some support to the e4 pawn. c6 by Deak, bishop to c2. Perhaps now is a good time to go rook e8. But I guess white's going to go knight f1 to g3. And if black doesn't have a direct strike in the center, white should be a little bit better because he's got 2 pawns in the middle and he's got more space. So let's see what Deak is going to do. You can also expand on the queen side with a move like b5 followed by a4. So let's see if that is what he's going to go for. Okay. Deak just the move here. Again, he's falling behind on the clock. So let's see what he will play. To me, rook e8 makes sense. h6, of course, makes sense. b5. Okay, he takes on d4 and d5. But now e5 by Vidit. Knight h5. Okay. Knight f1. Let's see. Can black break with a move like f6? That's really what this position revolves around. If not, then I feel like white should have an edge. But if f6 works out, then black might be doing okay. Here he goes. Knight f4. Okay, bring this knight back into the game. Knight g3. But now f6 for Deak. Looks pretty good. The bishop on e6 is now protected. f6. Excellent move, trying to open up that f-file for his rook. He also wants to bring the queen in. And in case white recaptures with the pawn, then this bishop is active again. So I like Deak's position here. Let's see what Vidit's gonna do. This does not look easy to deal. Doesn't look easy to deal with at all. Feels like black could easily get a big initiative here on the king side. He's got a pretty solid center, nice development. So let's see what Vidit's gonna do. Let's see what Vidit will do. Not easy at all. Not easy at all for white. Okay, Vidit taking his time is also getting down to 2 minutes. I guess eventually you're gonna have to take here, but black just recaptures with the queen. So black really having some easy moves here, whereas for white he's always gonna have to deal with threats like knight takes h3, knight takes g2, the f-file opening up. So I like black's position. I really like it. Okay, so let's see what Vidit is gonna do. He's getting down to 1 minute and 40 seconds. Alright, so maybe just bring the bishop into the game, but I guess then black takes. So let's see what Vidit's gonna do. He's down to 130. Alright, I mean maybe trade. No easy moves here for white. Again, that is why Vidit is spending his time. He's thinking like, hey, how should I continue here? But there are no easy moves. He takes an f4. Knight takes maybe queen d2, attacking the knight. And in case it takes, you can take with the knight or with the rook. And at least you have some sort of stability. Okay, I think Deak definitely should take to defend the knight. You do not want to move the knight back. That just looks passive. So this definitely looks like the best way to deal with the threat on the knight. The Armageddon will only happen if there will be a 3-3 tie. So It's a little bit unlikely, but of course it could always happen. Let's see what's going to happen here. D-Magi taking a little bit too long here. I think he should just take an e5. It's a natural move. I'm sure he sees it, and there we go, but it took him 30 seconds. Vidit recaptures with the rook. Maybe now bishop b8. Bring the bishop back into the game. You do not have to move knight takes h3 because you can take, and after rook takes f3, this bishop is hanging on e6. But I guess now Vidit's moves are becoming a little bit easier with the other rook coming to e1. Let's see if Derek really has to find the pace here. Bishop b6 looks like a very natural move. Maybe then queen f6. You cannot fall too far behind on the clock. There's only that 1 second increment. We saw how easy it is to flag, to blunder, all of that stuff. So you really want to keep some time on the clock. But he's getting down to 40 seconds. Let's see what he's going to do. Queen f6, also a good move. Okay, Dej spending his time here. He's got to move. He goes queen f6, bring the queen into the game. Maybe now's a good time for auto. Wait, this might run into stuff like knight takes g2. Because if you take this, comes with a check. And if you take here, you take an f3 anyway and defend the knight over here. So I think the Vidit should perhaps try to exchange off some pieces with a move like bishop to f5. Take, the queen is under attack, but you still have queen d6. But at least you alleviate some of the pressure. So let's see if Vidit's going to go for that. I like the move bishop f5 because also it looks a little bit tricky. And Dej is down to 27 seconds. So let's see what Vidit is going to do. Knight g5, by the way, also a possibility. Attacking the pawn on h7 and this pawn over here. But again, you do not want to go rook h1 and run into knight takes g2. That would be a bad idea. Okay, knight g5. Attacking the pawn on h7. g6 looks forced here for Dej. Because after h6 you have knight h7, forking the queen and the rook. Okay, so g6. He's got to move here. He's got to move. He's got to move. 12 seconds. Okay, you got to make a move here. You cannot hang this pawn. You got to go g6. He goes g6, okay. Maybe now rook a1 by Vidit, attacking the bishop. Rook a8. Good move by Dej. Okay. Let's see what Vidit's going to do. Vidit's got a tricky move here. He can perhaps go bishop to f5. If you take, you hang the rook. If you take the pawn, white can take the knight. I don't know if it's good, but at least it looks very tricky with Dej down to his last 4 seconds. Let's see what Vidit's going to do here. Vidit down to 13 seconds as well. What is he going to do? He's got to move. He's got to move. h4, trying to go here with bishop d7 by Dej, trading off some pieces. Maybe now you take. Vidit's got to move. He's down to 4 seconds. We see a trade. Trade. Take. Knight f3, the knight jumping back to e5, good move. Okay, queen e3, taking the bishop, bishop f7. You cannot move this knight because you hang this queen b3, tricky move, bishop takes d4. Queen e8 back by Dej. Queen e3, bishop c7. Okay, h5 maybe, knight e2, trying to trade with the knight. Queen f6, we see a trade, okay. Queen c3, taking the pawn, maybe bishop c7. Bishop d3. Queen e6, maybe g3 here. Bishop e8, g3, and there we go. Knight e5. Vidit slowly but surely improving his position. He's anchoring in the knight on e5, but now Dej's bishops could come to life. The pawn on d4 is weak. Queen c7, bishop b6. Okay, they're moving back and forth. b4, take. Maybe b5 by Vidit, trying to weaken the pawn on d5. Knight d3. Maybe he wants to go here. Okay, bishop c8, queen e3. The moves are coming in super quickly here. Bishop h3, trading off the bishops. The pawn on b7 is hanging now. Queen e7, but that's not hanging upon because the pawn on d4 is hanging. G4 by Vidit, expanding on the king side. Queen g5, b6, knight d3. Should all be equal. King g4, king e6. You do not want to allow f5. Vidit now definitely having a big edge here. He's pushing his pawns off the board. g6. G6, can Vidit win this game? Takes, maybe king takes. King takes, and how do you stop the h-pawn? King f8, king f6. h6, king g8. King g8. But there's check and knight e5. And takes. White queens first. Check. No. He missed a win. Now it's a draw. King d7. You can sack the bishop at c5. Take and b5. c4. What is going on? Knight f4. This pawn is still on the board. b6. b6. c2. Knight e2. Knight e3. Bishop c5. Only move. b7. Bishop a7. Bishop a7. Okay. And king c6. If you take. Okay. d4. It should be a draw here. You cannot get rid of this pawn. You have to go b8. It's just going to be a draw. Wow. What a game. Vidit had it in the bag, but he blundered. He should have just pushed forward. but it ends in a draw. Let's recap that real quick. Right here in this position, Vidit could have pushed 95, threatening checkmate, and if you take white queens with checkmate. What a miss by Vidit. But he went king of 6, and eventually all of the pawns were traded and the game ended in a draw. Wow, what a game. We're going into the bullet portion with a 2-2 tie. Okay, and we're off. D-Magi with the white pieces. Let's see what he's going to do. E4. D-Magi will certainly have to play faster in this portion, and Vidit goes for the Caro-Kann. The 2 knights attack by D-Magi, and Vidit gives up the bishop pair. Let's see, so d4. Alright, so we see a trade on e4. Knight of 6. White having a slight edge here with the pawn in the middle and the bishop pair. Vidit still playing quickly. He knows everything. He wants to go knight b4 here, attacking the queen. Let's see what is going to happen here. Okay, bishop b2. Gotta go. Gotta go. We're playing bullet chess here. Knight b4. Does he want to... Nah, you cannot sack. Does he want to go queen b3? I guess. Okay, knight e4 by VD. Attacking the knight on c3. Now, bishop d2, you can just take. Bishop d3, okay, takes. You're gonna have to weaken your pawn structure, but the knight on a6 is a little bit off. Okay, pawn takes c3 by D-Magi. Knight c7. Maybe just castles here. Here, rook b1, attacking this pawn, which is awkward to defend. You do not want to go queenside castles, as you always can run into an attack. But what else? b5 hangs this. Queen a6 doesn't look like a pretty move either. Knight b5, that's a very crafty way to defend a pawn. a4 is possible. You can take everything on c3, but then you take this. D-Magi can also just castle. Let's see what he's going to go for. By the way, a nice tactic. Bishop takes a3, runs into rook takes b5. Take, check here, and you take the bishop. Let's see if that's going to happen. a4 by D-Magi. Vidit's going to take on c3 here with the queen. If you take with the knight, there's this, knight d6. Queen c5, that's a nice move, but he doesn't see it. Queen d5. Offering the trade of queens, he trades. Queenside castles, okay. I like D-Magi's position here. Rook FB on the position really plays itself here. You've got very easy moves. Rook FB1, come on, you gotta go. Gotta go. Rook d7, bishop a6. Bishop a6, if you take, there's check. And it's actually mate. I don't see how you're defending after bishop a6. You cannot defend this pawn. c4, c5 also looks excellent. Bishop a6 on the board. What does Vidit do here? Very tough position. He's got a lead on the clock, but D-Magi's got the position on the board. Let's see what Vidit's gonna do here. This looks tough. And if D-Magi wins this game, he comes very close to qualifying to the main event. I guess rook c7, g5. Okay, take. But I mean, you take again. It looks super tough for black. Vidit down to 17 seconds. You gotta take king d8, rook b8 is game over. You've gotta trade the rooks. Takes. Bishop c7. Okay, take. There's king d7. Vidit's still in this game. He wants to go rook b8. Maybe trade of the rooks. D-Magi down to 5 seconds. Rook b8. Bring the rook into the game. He's actually threatening mate. g3, king of 1. Okay, rook b2. Take the pawn. Rook b4 doesn't do a whole lot. c5. Maybe just take twice, but then there's bishop b5. Bishop c8. He hangs the rook. D-Magi is completely winning here. Rook d4. It's game over. D-Magi up the exchange, up a pawn, and he takes the first game in the bullet portion. If D-Magi makes a draw in the second game, he is going to go to the main event. Can he hold? Vidit with the white piece. He's going to have to go all out. He's going to have to win this game. Alright, so we have another Italian game at our hands here. The opening went alright for Vidit. So let's see, D-Magi switching it up slightly with the move a6 instead of a5. He drops his bishop back to a7 again. And Vidit expanding on the queen side with the move a4. Kingside castles, h3, h6. Maybe now, again, the knight maneuver. Rook e8. Knight of 1. Or b4 is also moved. Black can go bishop e6 here. Trading off the bishops, which is a very solid approach here. Vidit having a very slight edge here, but he's got to win this game. Bishop e3, trading off the bishops as well. So let's see, d5 by D-Magi, breaking in the center. Maybe you trade here, misplacing black's rook just a little bit. And now perhaps queen c2, defending that pawn on e4. Okay, I mean, I don't like this move because it allows D-Magi to trade off the queens. He only needs to draw, so I think, you know, practically speaking, he should go for it. Let's see if he will. He can also, of course, keep the pieces on the board. He takes an e4. Vidit forced to recapture the rook. And rook to a8. Maybe knight e3 here. Takes. There's knight d5. Attacking the knight and threatening a fork. Knight e3. Nice find by Vidit. If you take, there's knight d5. Threatening a fork over here. And attacking the two rooks. b5. Maybe knight d5 anyway. Because if you take, there's a fork on the rook and the knight. I like Vidit's position here. Maybe you have to go knight e8, but that looks passive. Let's see. Vidit can go rook a1. Nice move. He wants to take perhaps at the right moment. Or go for the move a5. He takes. Now perhaps knight d2 to b3 to c5 looks like a nice maneuver. But they can try to trade off some knights with the move knight e7. Let's see what Vidit will go for. Alright, he's down on time. He's down on time. Rook d1, knight e7. Knight e7, trade of the knights. That's what you want to do if you only need a draw. Okay, knight e7. Perhaps Vidit has to keep the knights on the board, but then knight d6. It looks like Deak should be fine here. But he's got to move. Knight d6 is out of move as it hangs this pawn. Okay, gotta go. Gotta go. Knight e7. You gotta go. Gotta make a move here. Gotta make a move. Gotta make a move. 11 seconds. And he goes knight e7. A good move. Knight e3. Vidit keeping the knights on the board. Knight e6 now. Taking this pawn over here. Knight d2. Vidit wants to go f3. F3. Okay, that's also a good move. Attacking the pawn. Rook c. Okay, maybe now knight b3. Knight b3 to c5. Vidit certainly having the take. That's a pawn. Take on c7. Can Vidit win this one? He's up one. Knight c5. Knight c5. Knight c5 threatening knight d7. Okay, king e8. Maybe knight g4. Look at these knights. They're jumping around. Rook a7. I think you got to keep the rook on the board. Because your rook is more active than this rook on c8. Rook a6. Nice move. It's so easy for black to blunder here. Maybe knight d5. Like, start jumping around. He takes on f5 first. Maybe knight d5 or g4. Creating a passer on f4. Knight d5. Knight c4. You can go knight b6. There's no tactic just yet. Vidit moves up his king. King f7, h4. Expanding on the king side. King g7. Maybe h5. There's a check over here. Knight b6. Do not go here. There's knight e6. You have to trade. How's he going to defend this pawn? King f7. Just take. Vidit up 2 pawns. Is he going to make a comeback and take this match to Armageddon? Check. Check. Okay, take another pawn. And Deak just resigns. A little bit surprising in a bullet game. I think you always just got to keep playing. But this match is going down to Armageddon. So white will get a base time of 5 minutes, and they're gonna bid however much time they're willing to play with the black pieces. So this is it, you guys. This is it. The winner of this match goes to the main event. The stage is set. Let's see how much they're both gonna bid. We're waiting for our mods to tell us, but this is as exciting as it gets. We saw before that Deak bid 5 minutes. So he really wanted to play with white pieces, but he was pretty unconvincing against Yu Yang-Yi. He very quickly got lower on time, and he didn't really get anything going on the board. So let's see who will take this Armageddon game. I think Vidit must be feeling pretty good after evening up this match in the final game. So let's see how much they're both gonna bid. Okay, so we'll just have to wait, and then we'll know. All right, but yeah, feel free to let us know in the chat. Who do you think is gonna win? Is it gonna be Vidit or Deak? Who's gonna make it to the main event? The Armageddon is now bullet. In the Armageddon, white will get 5 minutes, and they're gonna bid how much time they're willing to play with the black pieces. So if, let's say, one player bids 4:30 and the other bids 4:20, the player with 4:20 will play with the black pieces, and 4 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Alright, so let's see what is going to happen. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, some players say Vidit, others say Deak. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But this is it, you guys. This is it. All right, and you know how I said that if black bids 4:20 and the other bids 4:20, the player with 4:20 will play with black. Vidit bid 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and Deak bid 4 minutes and 20. So Deak will get the black pieces and 4 minutes and 20 seconds on his clock. Vidit will get 5 minutes and the white pieces, but he has to win. He has to win. We're gonna lift off very, very soon. So let's see what is gonna happen. Let's see what's gonna happen. Vidit in a must-win situation, but he managed to pull it off in this game. If he can keep the pressure on the clock, on the board, I think he's got great chances. For Deak, the one thing that's really gonna matter is whether he can speed up. There is no room for slow moves here, as there is no increment, and we are off. Vidit opening up with 1e4. and Dej goes e5, knight f3, and we're probably going for another Italian. Yes, there it is. Vidit d3, bishop c5. They're playing super quickly right out of the gate. Let's see what Dej is gonna do. In the 3+1 portion he played a5, but in the 1+1 portion he played a6. So let's see what he's gonna do here. He goes back to a5. Okay, perhaps now. Okay, we see h3 by Vidit, h6 by Dej, knight b2, bishop b6. You can trade with bishop b5, keeping the pieces on the board. Knight d7 perhaps. Dej wants to break with a quick f5, but he goes d5. Knight g3. Vidit really cannot be unhappy about this opening. He's got all of the pieces on the board, but Dej is playing quickly. Okay, so takes an e4, recaptures, queen f6. Okay, maybe a move like queen e2, keeping the tension and making sure that in case black takes, you can recapture with the knight. Rook fd8, good move. I guess you want to move a rook to the d file, but if you move the a rook, you hang this pawn here, which probably is why Vidit plays b3. Also stopping a4 from Dej, bishop f8 by Dej, no longer offering the trade of bishops. And again, maybe now it's time to move the rook into the game, and there we go. Let's see what Dej is going to do. Maybe you can go for a maneuver like knight e7 to g6 to f4, or, you know, knight a7, you can just move the bishop back to c4 or d3. Vidit still having that edge on the clock here. Dej really has to be careful. He's taking a think here, and he settles on knight to a7. Okay, let's see what Vidit's going to do. I guess he's going to drop his bishop back, just keeping the pieces on the board. You could also go to c4, also looks completely fine. You can trade. Let's see what he's going to do. If Vidit loses, he can still play the second qualifier, which will start tomorrow. Yeah, but this is their chance. The winner of this matchup will qualify to the main event. So both players must be feeling nervous. Bishop to d3 by Vidit, keeping the pieces on the board. But look at the clock. Now he's up only 15 seconds. I think he's got to try to keep that edge on the clock. Knight c8, a nice move by Dej, re-maneuvering his knight. Maybe knight g3 by Vidit. a4 is a move to try to activate that rook. Let's see if he's going to go for it. He can also bring the knight back into the game here. He goes g6, also looks perfectly fine. Maybe a move like bishop c4 by Vidit. It will trade off some pieces, but, you know, he goes knight h2. Understandable. He wants to go knight g4, keeping pieces on the board. And, I mean, it would ask black, like, what is he going to do? Are you going to take, give the bishop pair? If you go h5, I think Vidit will just jump back and trying to go here with his bishop or with the knight. So, asking some questions for Dej. And Dej, again, 30 seconds down on the clock. He goes knight d6, knight g4, queen h8. It looks passive, but hey, what are you going to do? There's no good way to increase the pressure. And on the next move, he can kick the knight away with h5. I think Dej is looking pretty fine here, but he's still down 20 seconds on the clock. So c4 by Vidit, b6, a nice move by Dej, stopping Vidit from expanding on the queen side with the move c5. All right, let's see what Vidit's going to do. Dej looks pretty fine here. He can go like knight b7, maybe here. Vidit taking his time. The clocks are evening up. Big shout out to our great commentator GM Hess in the chat. Yeah, some nice knight maneuvers by Vidit, bishop h6, but Dej is also playing some great chess here. The time is evening up, and I don't like this bishop on b1. It looks pretty dead over here. Perhaps Vidit had to trade it earlier with bishop to c4, but it's pretty understandable that in armor. Wow. Bishop takes b6. Now he's got the move c5, but does this work out in his favor? Like, black can just ignore it. You can just go like a4, and if takes, takes. And what is there not to like? You've got the bishop pair. Queen f6 by Dej. Okay, I guess Vidit has to take one of the knights, but I like Dej's position. He's got the bishop pair here. He's got a very healthy pawn structure. And again, I don't like this bishop on b1. It's not doing much. Vidit takes on d6. I guess you take with the pawn, but taking with the rook is fine as well. Alright, so let's see what Vidit's gonna do. Time is even up here. Vidit actually down a couple of seconds. Knight f3 back. Maybe now a4 by Dej, opening up that rook on the a file. Looks like a pretty good move. Let's see if he's gonna go for Dej, taking his time. I also wonder who's better in a potential time scramble. I guess Dej a little bit more experienced, but I'm sure that Vidit can also hold his own. Dej taking a real think here. Time was even, but now he's down 20 seconds on the clock. He's gotta go. He's gotta go. You cannot take this much time in a blitz game with no increment. Let's see what he's gonna do. He's gotta move a4, good move. b4 instantly by Vidit, but now a3, fixing that weakness on b2, and it also gives this knight on a4 some entry squares. Then I can go here, I can go to c3 or to b2. I don't like this for Vidit. Queen c2, okay. Maybe knight a4 to b2, or he's attacking this pawn over here. You're gonna have to deal with that, so knight c4, good move. Vidit has the move knight f5 in case it takes. Queen c3, okay. Keeping the tension. Vidit up a little bit of time here. Can he find a way to win this game? But D-Magi again in the tank. What is he going to come up with? He's got to play a little bit faster. He's going to play a little bit faster. Someone's asking in the chat if Vidit wants to play a game, but I think he's busy playing this Armageddon. Alright, let's see what D-Magi's going to do. But he goes Queen D8, a good move, but again, it took him 20 seconds. I guess now maybe you trade. Black is going to recapture. I like D-Magi's position. I like it a lot. Bishop C2, nice move by Vidit. He can now... Oh wait, this rook is under attack. So I guess you might have to trade, maybe then Bishop B3. But it looks pretty good for deck. He goes Rook A1. Wow, defending the pawn on A2. A little bit passive, but it keeps pieces on the board. And this pawn on E5 is under attack. Is they going to defend it with a move like Bishop to G7? That would move the Bishop back to a more passive diagonal. D-Magi, I like his position, but the time, maybe now Knight F1 to E3, bringing the Knight back into the game. The Knight on G3 doesn't really have a future. Knight F1, great move. Great move. And again, look at the clock. Look at the clock. Knight D3, attacking the rook and the pawn over here. I don't know if you want to take, but do you want to allow the Knight F4? I don't know. Let's see what Vidit's going to do. I think it makes sense to keep pieces on the board. You can also, well, if you take, there's Bishop takes H3 at the end. So I think Vidit just has to move the rook. And I think here, because then Knight F4 does not pose the threat of Knight E2. Alright, thanks to GM has in the chat. Okay, Rook E3, Knight F4 on the board. Maybe Bishop E3. Trying to trade off that active Bishop King H2 by Vidit. G5, G4 perhaps. Going all out on the king side. Queen E8 by D-Magi. Vidit still up a little bit of time. Can he pull this off? Bishop E3, trading off the bishops. Good move. And if he gets the time to move that knight in, he's doing pretty alright. Let's see what D-Magi's going to do. Who's falling behind on the clock? 1 minute and 12 seconds. He's got to go. He's got to speed up. He's got to speed up here. You cannot play this slow because there's no increment. If you have no time, you lose the game. You got to move here. Maybe Rook C6. He's down to his last minute. You got to move here. You got to move. You cannot play this slowly. You got to move. There's no increment. Queen B5. Fine move. Let's see what Vidit's going to do. Maybe move this knight, but is there knight E2? Vidit must feel the pressure. He knows that he's got a real chance here. He's got a time. Okay, knight G5, putting pressure on the bishop. I like it. Maybe a Rook C6 now. Rook C6, a tricky move. If you trade, you recapture the queen and attack this pawn. Okay, so maybe just Rook D7 or Queen D7. Knight E6, okay, trade. This game is starting to look better and better for Vidit on the board, and he's got that edge on the clock. Rook C3 now, taking this pawn over here. Knight E2 runs into this. Rook C3, good move. Vidit up 30 seconds on the clock. He should win this game. He should win this game. The position is equal, and he's got an edge on the clock. D-Magi is still thinking. He's down to his last 35 seconds. He's got to move here. Queen B7, taking the pawn. Maybe it's time to move the knight in, or Queen C2. Vidit, can he pull it off? Rook C4, fine move. If he... Damn, you got to move 30 seconds. Rook D6, Rook C1. Bring the rook into the game. C6, Knight E3. Just move, just move. Move, okay. Bishop H6, good move by D-Magi. Okay, maybe just move the rook out of the pin. Okay, good move. Is he gonna trade? Vidit should win this one. He's got a better position. He's up on the clock. Or, well, the position is equal, but he's up on the clock. He take. Good move by D-Magi. Okay, you don't quite want to do this, but you want to keep these on board. Rook D8, Rook D3 is coming now. Vidit let it slip. Rook F2, Rook C3, Rook D2, check. Uh-oh, this game is getting out of control. Check. But can D-Magi finish it off with 20 seconds on his clock? Queen B5. He's threatening check and mate. Vidit let it spin completely out of control, but Queen C4, good move. Can he flag D-Magi? Check, take. It's a draw now. Take, and Rook A6. Take and Rook A6. Rook A check and Rook A6. Take the pawn. Yes, you're going to be down a pawn here, but you can flag him. 14 seconds. This should be a flag for Vidit. Rook A5. Can he pull it off? F6 check. Can you check? Rook here. F5. Okay. Move. King up. As long as you do not get checkmated, he should win this game. Rook up. And D-Magi hangs his rook. And that's it. Vidit qualifies to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship. Wow. What a game. What a game. What a game. I was on the edge of my seat. I guess I'm not the only one, but Vidit pulls it off. He was gonna flag D-Magi, but D-Magi hung his rook. What a game. Wow. D-Magi played a great game, but he was just a little bit too slow, and so Vidit kept the pressure on the clock and eventually manages to pull off the win. What a game. What a game. So Vidit, together with Yu Young-Yi, qualifies to the 2023 Speed Chess Championship presented by Coinbase. Let's have a final look at our bracket. So we see here that Yu Young-Yi won the winner's bracket. He defended D-Magi coming so close. He loses 2 Armageddons. He does not make it to the main event, but Vidit does, and so does Yu Young-Yi. However, there is another qualifier tomorrow, so Dex still has a chance, but that must be a heartbreaker. That must be a heartbreaker, losing 2 finals and missing out. But what a heroic performance from Vidit. He had to go all the way through the loser's bracket. He won like 4 matches, but he does make it into the Speed Chess Championship. So great stuff all around. And yeah, another qualifier will take place tomorrow. That one will be hosted by Kostya Kubutsky. I think we're gonna wrap up pretty soon. But what a day of chess. What a day of chess. I felt like Deck had it in the bag, but he just got too long time. And Vidit kept his nerves together and eventually managed to pull off the flag. I know he does not like winning like this, but of course he would rather win like this than lose. So great stuff by Vidit. He kept his nerves, and at the end he managed to win this super important game. So Vidit, very deserving of a place in the main event. He's rated well over 2700, super strong grandmaster, and so I'm pretty excited to see him compete. He's probably going to compete against. He's probably going to play one of the top seeds, but I think he's got a real shot. Anyway, guys, we're gonna sign off over here. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Kostya is gonna host qualifier number 2. Maybe I'll play in that one myself. If you're a GM or a title player, you can play. At any rate, I do hope that all of you guys enjoyed watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, it will be at a different time. It's gonna be at 1 p.m. Eastern, but we will see you guys then. Thanks for watching, everyone.